Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games. This week, we're going to feature some news, 3 games, a little thought-provoking stuff, and of course, our image of the week. It is December, and that means games are in the horizon for any of us who like Christmas and games and want to put the two together like peanut butter and mackerel. All right, let's get to the news. Let's get going. Okay, well, we have 2 big stories this week, and actually they are the flip side of the same coin. First off, those of you who like Star Wars are looking forward probably to the new one on the 15th that's coming out, the new movie. There's about 1,000 Star Wars games in the universe, and lots of them are good, some of them are there for the license. Imperial Assault. Star Wars Imperial Assault is a role-playing game. It is probably the second or third best Star Wars game that I've ever played. It is a campaign-style game. It's you rebels against the dark side, and you're spending time going through this campaign on different missions, narrative missions. The interesting part of that is that you really needed at least 2 players, probably needed more, to be able to really play the game. Well, it has been announced from Fantasy Flight Games that there is now available an app that will act as the dark side for you. So now I, in my onesie little one place, can play this campaign solo, or I can play with friends and we can all play on the same side in a cooperative fashion without requiring someone to know the dark side rules. And that's fantastic. That's actually exciting. FFG, Fantasy Flight Games, did the same thing in the past with one of their own licensed products called Descent, where they had the app that actually took care of like campaigns and all that stuff and did a really good job of it. Imperial Assault, currently on the App Store. I don't know if it's available on PC yet, but it's App Store and Google Android. But here's the kicker. In addition to that, there's been kind of a run on all of the expansions for this game as well. I was able to pick up a couple. I probably won't be able to get them all, but I did pick up Twin Shadows, Return to Hoth, some of these expansions. But what's interesting is locally, it has caused a run on Imperial Assault at places like Barnes & Noble, which was offering 50% off coupons or half off. And so there's been a deluge of people rushing to get Imperial Assault, the core game, for in the $30 to $40 range when it's normally $80 to $90 MSRP. So anyone interested, if you're still around and there's a Barnes & Noble nearby, go and grab them. If you want to play this, grab that, because with that app, you are going to be able to play it by yourself or with friends, and it's going to be really entertaining. Now, to flip the coin, it's also one of the interesting reasons that there's a run on these things is because Barnes & Noble, which has been ramping up its board games, is now ramping down. It's been determined, probably reasonably, that people go to Barnes & Noble for games, for books, and that games aren't really the high point. And while I think personally Barnes & Noble has been in trouble for years and is basically just, treading water at the moment, this kind of helps solidify that we probably won't be able to see these kinds of deals at Barnes & Noble brick and mortar type environments in the future, which is fine because we have Mox Boarding House, we have Zulu's Games, we have Around the Table, we have all kinds of places right now that are ramping up to be board game superstores. So that's the news for the week. Some good, some bad. Now let's get to my thoughts or the question of the week. Let's do that. Okay, one of the questions I get asked is, do you have too many games? Now, part of that's rhetorical. You don't need any games. The number of games you need in life is 0 for the most part for all of us. That's really, if you really want to be absolutely barren in your literal, like just mathematical, logical interpretation, you need 0. How many is too many? Well, probably if you have more games than you could ever play, you better find something else to do with them. I have 2 more games than I could probably ever play. I just realized in my collection that if I played, I would have to play, it would be years. If I didn't duplicate my gaming, it would be years before I got to the same game twice. It doesn't work that way, and let's be reasonable, but then again, the question becomes, how many is too many? And obviously there are lots of different viewpoints on it. Games are a disposable income, so if you don't have disposable income, and you might be able to put that disposable income to something a little bit better. In my realm, I collect them while I'm blessed with the opportunity to collect them. I do want and try to make these beneficial to all. I have a library of games that I would more than happily share with people who want to borrow them or try them out. I also use them for board game retreats at Cedar Springs Camp, as I've mentioned in the past. And so that kind of helps fuel the fire. Is board games, like anything else, if I'm just sitting around with them and they're collecting dust, they're usually no good. And in fact, I am going to have a little sale in a little bit and get rid of some and pare it down, because at a certain point, why not get them out to people that can use them? How many is too many? I have no answer to that, because I think it really is variable based on what you're doing and what your passion is. Like, I don't need fancy jeans. I don't need clothes, except that society requires them, as does the Lord. And so, I can scrimp in certain ways and be able to afford games in other ways. But it's all really about, if it's your hobby and your passion and you collect them, great. But if they're not getting used by you and you probably wouldn't play them again, why not donate them to the local library? Or in some cases, I give them away. In some cases, I just sell them on Board Game Geek's marketplace and stuff. But yeah, there's no great answer for that. There's no answer that's going to universally satisfy everyone's criteria of how many board games is too many. And on that, let's get to our 3 games of the week. Okay, so first off, we have an oldie but goodie. This is a great time to pick up Celestia. This was one of the games I recommended last year for those who wanted to enjoy Christmas. Celestia is a push-your-luck game where everyone's on a floating dirigible in the sky, cloud to cloud to cloud to cloud, and they're making their way up to the highest Cloud City. Sounds boring, but it's not, because you are actually everybody's risking to see how far you can take this before this boat crashes. And it crashes a lot. You go up and crash, you go back down. You go up again and crash and go down. Everybody's on board, and people have to decide when they're going to disembark. If you disembark, you get an advantage wherever you disembark. You get points for wherever you disembark on one of the, I think, 9 islands. But if you keep pressing your luck, the farther you get, the bigger the point values. And it's kind of worth it if you can press your luck far enough. It's a great game. Easy to teach, fun components, very recommended. Celestia, I give it an 8 in a party sense, because I think it's a blast, particularly with some special powers where you can kick people off sometimes when they don't want to be kicked off. Celestia. Next, Herbaceous. Just got this year and tried it out. It's a nice little filler game where you are basically taking series of plants, and you can see on the back some of the herbs, not herbs and spices, and you're filling your pots with these plants and herbs, different things, thyme and tarragon and chives. I need a baked potato. Herbaceous plays very quickly. It's not a difficult game at all. It's probably best 2 or 3. It's pleasant. I'd probably give it a 6.5. It's not something that rocks my world, but the artwork is so good and it's so easy to get out and play and kind of enjoy. A little bit of cutthroat, little herb on herb action. So, Herbaceous. Finally, here it is. I've touted it last year. I have not tried this yet, but it did arrive. Civilization: A New Dawn, a streamlined version of a Civilization 4X game that I am stoked to be able to get to the table. There'll be more on that later, I'm sure, but brand new, looking awesome, and I give it a unknown, because I don't know yet. Alright, and that's it, other than our picture of the week. There it is. If you can guess the secret picture of what board game this picture represents, I will be happy, and I will say, good job. That's reward enough, right? Right. Anyway, that's it for this week, and we will see you next week on Harebrained Games.